America, it's Hugh Hewitt. Across the country, the name Howard Jarvis is known, whether you're up in New York listening on 970 or out in Hawaii or up in Alaska or down in Florida. Howard Jarvis, of course, one of the great names in the American anti-tax revolt legacy. And the work of Howard Jarvis carries on in California by none other than Jon Coupal, who runs the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. Hi, John. Welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Hey, Hugh. How you doing?
Great. You know, we're living in a dangerous time for taxpayers at the state level across the United States. I guess you guys must be busy because state legislators in California and across the country are trying to pick our pockets as well as the federal government.
Yeah, let's just say it's a target-rich environment for taxpayer advocates right now.
All right. Now, California, of course, is on the brink of fiscal insolvency, teetering on the edge of disaster. A lot of plans are out there calling for hikes of all sorts of fees, et cetera. And the campaign for governor out here appears to come down to Jerry Brown and Meg Whitman or Steve Poizner. What's the Howard Jarvis campaign think about this race in California?
Well, we've endorsed Meg Whitman for a number of reasons. Number one, I think our bread and butter issue, of course, is Proposition 13. Proposition 13 is really, as people recall, the beginning of the modern tax revolt movement. It really kept people from being taxed out of their homes, and Meg certainly, of all the candidates, has demonstrated the most strong commitment to preserving and defending Proposition 13. That's kind of the alpha and omega as far as we're concerned. But along with everything else, we do think that she's got a credible plan for spending reductions. You know, you're familiar with the figures as well as anybody that we have 12% of the population but 30% of the welfare load, and that's just simply not sustainable. We also need someone who I think will bring a strong business-like perspective in dealing with the unions. You know, you don't have to call the union leaders girly men in order to be effective. I think what we can do is sit down with them, understand what their concerns are, but say, look, guys, we do not have the money to continue this path to financial ruin, and by the way, it's not in your best interest for us to pursue these policies. So that's the direction we're going. We look forward to working with her, and of course, as you know, she is the #1 target by the unions. They have just launched a massive independent expenditure campaign against her, and probably for good reason. She is now currently tied with Jerry 43-43 on the Rasmussen poll.
Jon Coupal, you guys at Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, you usually wait longer to endorse. Are you getting in earlier on behalf of Meg Whitman in California because of the union attempt to take her out?
Yeah, I think that was certainly a driving force. Plus, as you say, things are really I would say not on the brink of insolvency. I would say as a balance sheet matter, we are insolvent right now, and we need to make sure that we rally behind the strongest candidate, and we certainly think that's Meg at this point, because the unions aren't waiting, and we shouldn't either, and we think that it's vitally important to get momentum between now and November.
Now, Jerry Brown has been there before and done that before, and kind of the Howard Jarvis legacy comes out of the Brown governorship the first time around, doesn't it?
Yes, he was governor, of course, campaigned heavily against Proposition 13. Of course, after it passed, he tried to characterize himself as a born-again tax cutter, but that did not last very long. And of course, one of the principal problems we face in California is the extraordinary collective bargaining rights granted to the public employees, and of course that happened under his watch. He signed the legislation, and much of the ills of this state can be traced to that problem. The public employee unions in California are able to raise vast amounts of campaign cash, making even most modest reforms very difficult.
I'm talking with Jon Coupal, who is the president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association in California. Today it endorsed Meg Whitman be the next governor of California, and there's going to be blowback, obviously, from the public employee sector. Jon Coupal, when you said that all the California problems really go back to the public employee unions, what do you mean by that? Because that's applicable across the country, actually.
Well, it is, but of course, like so many things, California has perfected it to an art form. We do have the highest paid public employees in America. We have the richest retirement plans offered, some employees having what we call 3% at 50, meaning you get to retire at age 50 and you get the number of years you've worked times the number years you've served times 3%, and that is extraordinarily rich. You have some people with retirement benefits that are with current values of well over $1 million.
That is remarkable. Jon Coupal, thanks for checking in with us from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. I know Meg Whitman's a happy candidate today. Very powerful force in America. Good to have you on, friend. Coming right back.